So he says, well, this is pretty safe. It's away from me. I'm going to unzip the tent flap. And he peeked out, and across the campsite, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was a huge, we're talking like 7, 8 foot tall creature with what looked like a wolf's head and gray and black fur on most of its body. It started to wake up then because there was noise of tearing, of growling, of, just a terrible attack. But this thing was quick. There is a wolf creature in these woods that will come for you whenever it has a chance. Welcome to a deceptive reality. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Nick, and with me is Bert.
Woo woo!
And we're going to take you on a journey. You ready to go on a little trip into the wilderness, Bert?
Well, you lost me at wilderness, but listen, we'll make do. I don't know if I want to go in the wilderness, but we'll do it.
A lot of our spooky stuff happens in the wilderness.
That is true.
We've got to be adventurous now and then.
It's where all the scary things are.
Yeah, it really is. Inside houses and outside houses. Both places can be scary.
Yep, that's fair.
So I want to set a scene. I know I do this all the time, but I want to set the scene for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
So that we can sort of get into the feeling of it. So nothing spooky's going to happen. Just remain calm.
Okay.
But I want to tell you of a place that is in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
There's a lot of wilderness. There's a lot of places you can go where you're not going to meet other people.
Okay.
And it's prime camping territory. And it's and this is what's kind of unusual and interesting about it. It's a long peninsula that's in between the Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley.
Okay.
So stretching through western Kentucky and Tennessee. And it's a place called the Land Between the Lakes.
Okay.
Have you heard of this before?
Vaguely. I don't know a ton about it, but I know that I think there's like multiple things that's happened there. I don't know a lot about it, but multiple things. It always seems like when we do these paranormal episodes, which is all we do, but when we do them, I always notice that it's like, you don't ever find just one thing. You typically find like 12 things, but we only cover like one at a time. So,
yeah, well, there's a lot of things that have happened here that are all interconnected. And I'm going to lean into the trail for that in a little bit. But first, I just want to talk about a feeling that I get sometimes, and I think a lot of people do. And that is, if you go out to these remote places, how far can you get before you start getting that feeling of isolation? Like, do you ever travel out into like campgrounds or national parks, God forbid?
I try not to. That's where all the cryptids are, Nick. So.
Right. Well, you should try too, because that's the business we're in.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because I went hunting a few years ago. That was the last time that I was truly out in the quote unquote wilderness. And a buddy of mine, he and his dad and a couple of his friends and then myself, we all went out. And it's interesting because, back then I had a compass. It was a digital compass. I thought I was big time. But I was going bow hunting. And it's amazing once everyone splits up and you walk out maybe 3/4 of a mile, and you look around, and you're like, if I fall down this hill, I am going to die because no one's going to find me.
Right. Now, in modern times, the chances are way better because we've got cell phones with the GPS and stuff like that. But there's still plots of land, even around here. Like Nova Scotia is not a gigantic place that cell phones won't work anymore.
Yep.
Now, some modern cell phones have the satellite connections for emergencies and stuff like that. But back in the 80s, things felt a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where a lot of this story takes place. So you didn't have cell phones. You didn't have an easy way to, or, you might have cell phones, but you didn't have GPS or probably as wide connection as we do now.
No, not at all.
But there's still those eerie places where your cell phone doesn't work. You're out in the middle of nowhere and the feeling just changes. Like you're feeling real isolation. Sounds can pop up that you're not familiar with. And I find you start to just get sort of a little bit of a queasy feeling inside of you that, just like you said, something could happen to you and no one would ever know.
Right.
Or you could come across something that you were never expecting to come across. And that's sort of the location we're looking in here. It's an old land. There had been native tribes that lived in the land between two lakes, or the land between the lakes. There had been settlers afterwards that sort of displaced them in this area. But in the current time, it's mostly just very isolated camping spots. Before you get in there, there's towns and stuff like that. But once you get in the land between the lakes, it's a lot of that isolation that can really throw you off your game.
Now, what's this land look like? Are we talking about, obviously there's water there. Is it like swampy? Like, what is it?
Well, it's mostly just two massive lakes that go, there's two thin lakes that go all along it. And it's heavy wilderness in between the two lakes, speckled with little logging roads, some regular roads, campgrounds, but no real populated places. So it's real easy to get lost in there. Now, the good thing is, if you get lost, you just got to head till you find water.
Yeah.
And you'll know where you are, because this is sort of like a peninsula.
Yeah. Between that and the water is always the cryptid. That's where we got to be a little careful.
Well, that's where you're going to find every animal you can think of, because everything needs to head to water eventually.
Right.
That's what life on this earth is like. So you could find a cryptid or you could find a bear, and both of them could be equally dangerous.
Cryptid bear, most dangerous.
Cryptid bear. That's right. What is it? Man, bear, pig from South Park.
That's right. That's the scary one.
Right. So our first story, our first occurrence that we find out about, one of the most famous ones, doesn't take place right in the land between the lakes. It takes place in a gas station just on the outskirts of that. And who's been working there is Jeanette Thompson.
Okay.
She's been working there quite a while. In a lot of stories, she's called Jan, but her son eventually corrected that her name's Jeanette.
Okay.
And she told a very disturbing story. So she has a lot of regulars that stop in there all the time. You know, she's working the later shifts and stuff like that. So she has time to get to know them pretty well. And on this particular night in 1987, I believe it is, two police officers that stop in for coffee all the time and that kind of thing, they roll into her gas station. But it's not like every other time. They are clearly distressed. Like, they're nervous, their hands are shaking. And I don't know if it's a good thing for police officers to be doing or a bad thing for them to be doing. But in small towns, there's sort of like a connection you have with people. And they start to tell her about where they just came from.
Oh, okay.
So they had just come from a campsite way back into the land between lakes. Now, they don't know who was at the campsite. They didn't have an ID on anyone, but let me tell you that when they were there, the people, the subjects of their investigation were not found.
Oh, okay. So this is like a missing person thing, kind of.
It's not really a missing person. They know that these people are not going to be located.
Oh, okay.
So they were both quite sick to their stomach, because when they rolled up to this campsite that had been reported to them, it was literally covered. Everything in this campsite was covered in blood.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. We went right there. Okay. I'm ready now.
Right.
I wasn't ready. Okay. Now I'm ready.
Something terrible had had definitely happened there.
Yeah.
They found that their camping gear, their tent, their cooler, everything was torn to shreds, almost like a claws had come across it.
Okay.
And everything was disturbed. You could tell from the scene, the cops could tell anyway, that there had been people who had been dragged across. It looked like there was fights and stuff like that. And I don't know how graphic I want to get into this. But while they didn't find enough to know who these people were, they did find parts of these people.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
This is pretty gruesome. I should have given you a warning on that.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for this. I thought this was like a cryptid story. This turned right into a murder case.
Oh, this is a cryptid story because the tent and the parts of the people that they did found had scratches on them and bites on them.
Okay. And
when they later brought in specialists in these areas, like, as they were thinking, well, this has got to be some
bear.
This has got to be like a series of bears or like, a pack of wolves or something like that did this. But what they determined, the specialist, was these bites and these claw marks are nothing like any animal I know of.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they said it was also only one animal as far as they could tell from the evidence left behind.
Did they find like paw prints or things like that?
Well, the ground was pretty hard at the campsite because, at campsites, they usually have the packed down ground and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They really didn't find any paw prints there, but there were prints, faint prints, and they couldn't tell it apart from the family who was there, that looked like bare feet.
Okay.
And I don't mean the feet of a bear, but like humanoid bare feet.
Humanoid
Unshoot,
bare feet.
I guess. Well, that's right.
Oh.
So this was quite a grisly scene. Now, they had found that one of the people, and I'm not going to go into details about this person because this is something that we don't want to talk about as much, but they found one of the people had shimmied up a tree to try and escape.
Yeah.
And when they found that body, what remained of it, it was still in the tree, and in its hand was grasped dark gray and black fur.
Gray and black.
As if they had fought off something. But then again, gray and black is not a common fur pattern that you see on a lot of these kind of animals.
No, typically when you said black, I was thinking like black bear, or gray, like a wolf would almost be what I would think of.
Yeah. And how it's been described and recreated is it's quite a contrasting. It's a very dark black and then a very light gray.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this fur was clutched in their hands as if they were trying to fight something off that was able to get up in the tree to where they were and sort of finish them off there.
Okay.
Now, this story is particularly gruesome, and eventually Jeanette wrote a book about this as well, because she was able to connect it to some other things. This isn't the first kind of event that had happened like this there before.
Was there like folklore?
There was folklore, but even after the folklore, there was always sightings of something, and they knew when they came across this crime scene, whether the cops wanted to admit it or not, whether Jeanette wanted to admit it or not, they kind of knew what had gotten to these people.
You're killing me, Nick. What's this thing look like? What are they saying?
Am I building suspense too much?
Yes, I can't. I'm dying to know. You've tiptoed around it. Is this a bear? What is this thing?
So this isn't a bear.
Okay.
This is something that people see that they think is something that we've seen before.
Okay.
And that is something with a wolf head that walks on its hind legs and looks partially human.
Oh, it's a werewolf story again, Nick. Yes.
That's right. We're talking about another werewolf. And so many people have spotted them before, but it's not often that something so physical and something that left so much evidence behind
yeah,
happens.
They say in that London case that werewolf is still there. There's people that swear up and down it's still there. Which, by the way, if you're watching this video and you live in London, Ohio, and you live near that area and you want an investigator to come on your land at nighttime, I would love to do that. Just putting that out there.
Oh, so you will go into the wilderness.
Listen, within, if I can have a firearm.
Okay. Well, I think you're allowed to in that state. So
yes. So we're good. So, we're definitely good.
Yeah.
I love
You'll need
werewolf
silver
stories.
bullets, though.
Yeah, for sure. I love werewolf stories. Now you got me locked in. Okay, I didn't know what I was dealing with.
I'm glad. Now this story is a little different. We're gonna continually be going back in time from this point.
Okay. And this was 1980s, 87.
This was 1987.
Okay.
Now, people who lived around there, people who camped around there, there'd been tons of sightings of this creature. Now, if you take into account there's already legends of this there, and some people are just spooked by their own shadow, that will count out some of these stories. So, but it's
but people were saying it was a werewolf. Is that what they were saying?
Yes, there's tons of sightings of people seeing what they described as a werewolf.
Okay,
and it's interesting because typically when you think of a werewolf, you think of something that's like almost more wolf than person.
Yeah.
This one that they see is more wolf at the top, claws and stuff like that. But as it gets down towards the bottom, it's more like a person. So it has bare feet like a human, walking without shoes and stuff like that.
Oh, that's why you said that earlier. Now I understand. Okay.
Right. So tons of sightings of this. And it's always in people's minds because if we go back just 5 years before that, there was another massacre in the same campground by this creature.
Okay, so this has happened before.
This has happened before. Now, the first time it happened, people weren't really sure exactly what transpired because it really didn't leave the same kind of evidence behind. So this one, for whatever reason, it didn't take away all of the people like it did in 82. So in 1982, so just 5 years before that, there was a younger fella named Roger who went camping in there with his family. And they were deep into the campground in a secluded spot. I think when people go there, they don't want to be right next to the next campsite. But maybe they wish that they had. Because Roger describes his tale is everything was normal when they were setting up camp and everything. And they, went to the lakes or the rivers and they enjoyed themselves. And he and his father had sort of thought that something was a little bit odd because they just didn't hear any nature sounds the whole time they were there.
Yep.
And you remember what we've talked about before, the dark forest.
Yep.
When things go silent, either they're afraid of you or there's something else there to be afraid of.
Yep.
So my understanding or my belief of this is that as they were doing all their stuff, this creature was watching them, following them down to the lake, across the rivers, through their hikes, in broad daylight. Like, this isn't some kind of mysterious creature that only appears in the dark. This is something living in these woods.
Yep.
So they noticed it, but they were like, we're in a pretty remote spot. The animals aren't as used to people around here. Maybe the squirrels, the birds, all that kind of stuff. They're a little more wary. So they're scared because we're here. They're not making any sound.
Yep.
But it's sort of sat on the edge of their mind. So just to be cautious, professional campers, when they set up for the night, they locked up all their food. You got to raise it in a tree if there's bears around or something so that they can't get to it. And they settled down for a good night's sleep. Everyone was tired. It was 4 of them there. It was Roger, his father, his mother, and a sibling.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I believe there was a family friend or an uncle with them as well. So they get to sleep, and they were tuckered out from a long day, but Roger was still awake a little while afterwards. So he had his own little pup tent, or, those little ones that people can set up to camp on their own. And he heard something moving behind the tents.
Okay.
And he thought, oh, maybe it's a deer or something like that, just being curious, but you still get a little nervous in those situations.
Oh, yeah.
Because the only thing between you and whatever it is a little piece of
nylon
canvas tent.
Yeah,
or nylon. So anyway, he hears it, and then it goes over towards where the other tents were. So they were sort of on the other side of like the picnic table and the stuff they brought, maybe over where their cars are. So he says, well, this is pretty safe. It's away from me. I'm going to unzip the tent flap.
Mm-hmm.
And he peeked out, and across the campsite, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. There was a huge, we're talking like 7-8 foot tall creature with what looked like a wolf's head in gray and black fur on most of its body.
Oh.
And being that tall, it walked right by where they had lifted their food up in the tree. It went by the cooler. These are all food sources that animals can sniff out real easily.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the thing that he noticed is it had intention. It wasn't after the different food sources. It wasn't there to sneak in and sneak out. And it went to the first tent and tore through the side of it and just dug right into the person who was sleeping there. They didn't even have a chance.
Did they not hear that?
The other tents did.
Oh, okay.
When it dug into it, but the first person, if they even would have woke up, all they would have heard is a tearing of canvas or nylon, and then just bit into them. Now, in the commotion, the other tent, which had the majority of the family in it, people started to wake up then because there was noise of tearing, of growling.
Yeah.
Of, just a terrible attack. But this thing was quick. As soon as it finished the first guy, it didn't hang out there. It went after the tent with the majority of the family in it. And it ripped right through the side. And think of the parallels we're seeing between Jeanette's story and this one. Like, this thing has an idea in mind. It's not simply looking for food. It's looking to take care of these people quickly.
Right, yeah.
So it tears through them. Now, in the meantime, this is his family. Roger is like young, but he's got to do something about this. And in various stories, it changes a little bit, but he tried to fight it. Some stories he has a gun and scares it off. Some stories he fights it with an axe or a shovel. But any which way, he drives it off. And when he surveys the rest of the scene, it's not good. there's already no survivors.
Ugh.
So he goes to get help. And when he gets back into town and brings people with him, they can tell, like, he's scratched up, like he's not seriously injured, but they can tell something happened to him. And he's basically out of his mind with fear. But he bravely says he'll take him back there. And when they get to the campground, this is where part of this falls apart, where maybe people think this was something else, but they don't find any bodies there whatsoever.
Ugh. Okay.
So Roger's whole family is just gone. And they have no idea where they were taken. There wasn't even like trails or anything like that. Now, mind you, there was probably a couple hours between him fleeing and him coming back, having convinced people that this has happened.
Yeah.
Like, he went right into, there was a wolf creature that attacked us.
Yeah, no one's going out there with that.
Right. So he eventually did get people to get out there. But see, this particular story, since there weren't remains and that kind of thing, people said, oh, well, you know, one of two things happened. Either it was a wild animal attack and this kid just was very confused. It can happen in a terrible situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or there was foul play here and he might be involved in it.
Yeah.
So he's always swore up and down. That's what happened. He never changed his story. So when it came time for Jeanette years later, she remembered this.
Mm-hmm.
And she was pretty darn sure that this was the same creature, especially with the things in common, the gray and black fur tearing through the tent, specifically going after people. Because a wild animal, if it's looking for food, under most circumstances is not going to kill everything.
No, and not only that, but once there's some sort of a commotion with the other people, typically that's when whatever that is will flee. They don't wait to see, okay, well, let me kill this or let me kill that. Like, it's typically
right.
And a lot of predators, they're opportunist and predators. They're not something that's like, oh, let me strategically hunting X, Y, and Z, except for lions. Lions are kind of a mountain lion. They're a little bit more crafty with how they, or like, I'm talking about things here in the States. Obviously you've got, things like tigers and stuff like that. That's a very strategic hunter, but a lot of animals is based on opportunity. You just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now you're in a little bit of trouble.
So here's an interesting thought. This creature in Roger's story was pacing out behind the tents.
Mm-hmm.
It almost seems like a little bit more intelligence behind it because it was seeing what's going on there. Like, a lot of animals might come up. They might not clue in that you're in the tent if the flap's not open.
Right, exactly. Typically, like, they'll have like a smell profile, like they'll be able to smell even through like the nylon and stuff, but it's like, okay, where's that smell coming from? You'll see a lot of those videos where there'll be bears outside of like a tent.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll push their face into it because they're trying to figure out like, what is this? Yeah. What is this thing that I'm trying to dig into? Yeah. Not only that, but if you think about it, like if it's starting to tear through the tent, a lot of animals don't understand that that's mostly air.
Right.
So, so
they more knock it down.
Yeah. Trying to
that
figure
kind
out
of thing.
They're typically not going to rip through it.
Right. This one, according to Roger, took its claw and went specifically down it like that. That's not normal behavior.
No, that sounds like every horror movie that I've ever watched, though.
Right. Exactly. So you still want to go to the London Werewolf case?
Yeah, no, after further investigation and research into this, maybe not so much. Never mind. And anyone that want to give me that opportunity, no, I think I'm good.
Right. So it sort of cased out the camping area. It ripped open purposely the side of the tent and it latched onto the first person before they had a chance to react. Now, instead of tussling with him, like a lot of animals would probably still do that, as soon as it knew that he was gone, what's it do next? Now, a lot of other animals might get wrapped up in the tent or something like that. This extracts itself from the hole that it made and went immediately to the next tent to attack. Like there was clearly some intention there.
Not only that, but that's not typical animal behavior. Like that's not what they would typically do.
Right. So here's where I have sort of a question that I can't get out of my head. There are people camping at the land between the lakes all the time.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Right. And there are people who are secluded camping. They're not all bunched together, anything like that. So what I'm trying to figure out, why was there 5 years between one incident and another? Can you think of any reasons why that would be?
I don't know. I don't know if that is something. Again, I feel like, I mean, even human beings, a lot of times when bad things happen, it's based on opportunity, not necessarily based on, you know, a knowledge. Like if you look at like home break-ins, like no one typically strategically says, I'm going to break into that house. Like it's not like Home Alone where Harry and Marv is out in the van. Like it's typically, oh, look, no one's home and the window's open. Let me break into this house. Animals are much the same. So it's like that primordial thought process of, oh, there's a snack. Let me go eat the snack, you know? So
but
maybe
if it was simply food, it passed by 2 food sources.
Yeah, which is very
on the
true.
way to the tent too.
It's very odd that it would choose one tent to just kind of make the I guess you would say unfortunately this situation, the death of a person. Just for now, they said obviously they attacked the first person. The one person got away. And then when it came back, there was nothing there. So it's almost like whatever this was carried all of those people away.
And here's the odd part. Like this thing is big. It's 7 feet tall, maybe a little bit taller than that. But that's not gigantic. It can't pick up a person and lift them completely off the ground in its jaws, probably. There wasn't drag marks away from the campsite.
That's so odd. Yeah. See, like I just watched a video a few days ago of a mountain lion attack, and it attacked this. I think if she was like 40 years old, she was a woman that was out for a jog, and there just happened to be other joggers on the track. And they said that it was able to jump like 15 feet and catch her.
Those things are crazy.
Yeah. Literally caught her right by the neck. And then just, they said that they thought maybe her neck broke on impact. But it was dragging her off the actual, and they found the mountain lion, but like typically with and you know, a lot of people's like, oh, it's not gonna be able to drag it very far. No, it drug her a long ways, like yards.
They're strong, but they can't pick things up completely.
Exactly my point. No matter what it is, what a bear or, you know, something like that, it's going to drag whatever it is away.
Now, another thing that we've not really discussed now, but we've talked about it in a lot of our other videos. Most animals can't walk completely on their hind legs.
Yeah, very few. Yeah.
You know, deer can rear up and take a few steps, maybe. We talked about that with the knot deer. You know, bears could go on their back feet, but they don't walk around other than on circuses, and they're not very agile. At that. How I picture this happening is this thing uses its arms, because it has arms. To pick these people up and take them away. To where, who knows? Because the other thing is they've not been finding body parts in this land between the lakes.
So I'm super curious about this, Nick, because we've had a few episodes now where we've talked about quote unquote werewolves. And every story is pretty compelling in and of itself. When you did the research on this one, like, where are you leaning on this? Like, are you leaning probability wise?
Well, I mean, everyone throughout the years, and this goes back a little further,
Mm-hmm.
says the same thing. It's a upper part wolf and lower part more human. Um, so I'm leaning towards sort of like a wolf man. I don't know if it's possible that things can turn back and forth.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that seems a little too mystical. What do you think about that? Like, you're quite into the werewolf thing. Like, do you think there's a mystical aspect of it, or?
Maybe I'm weird about this. I think that like the London werewolf is probably the best example. And they said they found a really tall guy with these almost yellow greenish eyes when they went to that tire shop. So even though they talk about that kind of a creature and how it changed, and then after that werewolf was quote unquote killed,
Right.
they said that guy also disappeared. So it's like, I don't know. Like you hear things like, what do they call those things? The skinwalkers, how sometimes they'll change into something else. And it's like, maybe it's not a werewolf at all. Maybe it's not a human at all. Maybe it's like this skinwalker that can kind of like morph between whatever it may be.
It's interesting that you bring that up because this isn't just an 80s thing. This has been going on for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And we may have, and a lot of this could be legend, but we may have an origin of this creature.
Oh, okay.
So there were written recordings from the settlers that came from Europe that briefly settled in the land between the lakes.
Okay.
And before they displaced them, there were native tribes that lived there as well. And they were, attempting to be friendly with the settlers. And they told them to be careful. There is a wolf creature in these woods that will come for you whenever it has a chance. And, these people were kind of like, well, this is a few hundred years ago. We're still quite superstitious. So they took it seriously.
Oh,
and they also had sightings of this creature. But probably if you're into legends and mythology, which I am, this is probably the most important part. The natives had an explanation of where this creature came from.
Okay.
And it wasn't like something mysterious came down from the mountains, like the Mount Shasta tales or anything like this. There was a human from one of the tribes that lived in the land between the lakes that was, unbeknownst to a lot of people, what they consider a powerful shaman or medicine man or something like this. But he was also what I would consider, like, back before the term became well known, a serial killer.
Oh, okay.
And he would don a cloak of a wolf with gray and black fur sort of over his head, wrapped around his shoulders. And he would take people in the night. And when they eventually found out about them, or they found out about him, they actually hunted him down and killed him. But before he passed away, he cursed the land and said that he would always come back. And he would still keep taking what he wanted to take.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think that is the part that I found super fascinating, because this is just considered to more modern times. There's been recent investigators that have gone to the land between the lakes, and they say they just get an awful feeling at some places. They hear sounds they're not expecting to hear. In some places, they don't hear any sounds at all. But supposedly, this stretches back all the way to that guy who cursed the lands and said that he will come back and he will take what he wants to take.
Demon Nick.
it's could be someone that shapeshifts, or maybe he's stuck in that form for all time. There was an interesting theory that in each of these things, it wasn't that in Roger's case that there was one survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't in the family that the cops told Jeanette about, that everyone was gone. Some people have a theory that in these group of people that go in there, the curse takes over one of the people in the group.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Who then slaughters the rest of their group.
Is it a case where they had thought maybe he, not necessarily as a werewolf, but did they ever look at him as a potential murderer?
They did. There wasn't really any evidence to support that.
Yeah.
And I think that might be where some of the legends came from, that one person in the group will transform.
Yep.
Because a lot of people didn't believe that he really fought off a 7-8 foot tall creature with an axe or a gun that had just taken out, 4 or 5 other people.
Right. Yeah.
So, and this part is the part where it's like hearsay. People are saying that he was out there, he got afflicted by the curse, killed his family, and when he come to, because it was daylight by the time he got out, he didn't remember any of it. And then they say from the other story, they only found parts of a certain number of people that someone may have taken off afterwards, after they saw what they had done. But that could be more myth building than anything. So
yeah, for sure.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Interesting.
How do you feel about that part? Like, is that something you could see happening? Like, maybe it's not this shaman that comes along and takes people every now and then, but maybe it's the curse, and maybe that's why there's so much time in between.
Maybe for a story context, I think it's so much better as a shaman that comes in there as a wolfman. That's just, it's more exciting for TV than a guy that's probably tripped out on some type of drug and then takes his family out. That one's just not as appealing to me.
Right.
I don't know. Like, that's a tough one. I think that's probably possible. It's probable. I just don't think that it fits as well.
This is one of those rare stories that I'm always hunting for, where it has a beginning and a middle. Like, probably why this is happening, and it's continuing to happen. It's almost like you could write a whole story of this.
Yep.
And the especially interesting part to me is that sightings continue to happen all the time.
That's so odd. I don't know.
Right. So the end of this story hasn't been written yet.
Keyword is yet. Then there's going to be Nick and I. We're going to go out there, mostly Nick.
Heavily armed.
I'll sit in a camper, the hard metal camper. I don't see it getting into that. But I'm going to send Nick out with a flashlight. We're going to try to figure out what it is. What says you guys at home? Do you think there maybe is some kind of a wolfman out there haunting the areas of, the land between time is what I'm going to call it. You think there's someone out there? You think there's some werewolf man? Think it's a shaman? That's kind of a dope symbol though. Like a shaman, like a wolf thing on top of his head. Oh no, we're dying to know in the comments down below. What do you think? Also, wherever you're listening to our podcast, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button and tell your friends. Don't be so doggone stingy. It actually helps our channel grow, and we would very much appreciate any help that you can give us. But tell us the most important question this entire night. Are you team werewolf or team vampire? We're not team vampire over here. Team werewolf. That's the rule.
I like both.
Nah. Well, anyway, thank you for everyone to stop by. We definitely appreciate us being able to sit down with you, tell a little bit of a story. Until we see you next week, goodbye.